Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Bihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanand Gauri Guru Varga ki jai, Patik Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Raman Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai, Shri Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. We will be beginning with Mangalacharan, page 1 of this book. Shri Gauriya Giti Guccha, Vandeham, Shri Guru, Shri Yuttapada Kamanam.
Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Audaya Madhurya Gunashta Yuktam Bhagam Varinyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tam Shirasham Namami Trigandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Pada Jagataikahindi Chaitanya Lila Amrita Sarasaram Narayanam Tam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavani Paschatya Veshatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaurakrishaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyaya Deshavaritti Namine Ativadya Charitraya Swashritanam Chakarine Jiva Dukhe Sadarpaya Shri Rama Premadayine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshabha दैने ब्रह्मवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वलप्रेमाढ्य श्रीयुगानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणि श्रीमूर्तये दिनकारिणे रूपानुगं निरुद्धाप सिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भारसम्बोधे पदं जायते नमः नमो भक्तिनिरोधाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगम्बरायते गौराविर्भावभूमे स्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रिया वैष्णवः सर्वभौमश्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नम्ये लोकद्विषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते रक्तकञ्चनगौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतौ पङ्गो मम मन्दं मतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदं भोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यकृङ्गारण्यकल्पद्रुमदं श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेव प्रेष्ठानिधि सेव्यमानः स्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भे वंशिवतत्ततस्तुतः कार्षण्डेन्दुस्वरे गोपी गोपीनाथश्रीस्तुनः वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदेते सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहानामग्निर्वामनं श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिकाभिकरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दं हृदिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मास्यपरं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम् हरेर्नाम हरेर्नामेव केवलम् करो नस्त्येव 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 गतिरन्यथा हरे कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Dandavat Pranama Vaisnava.
How did you know?
Page 28, Shri Guru Charana Padma, Kevala Bhakti Sadhana.
What team?
Is there more than one tune?
But that liquor function. We got it. Okay.
So if you don't have a songbook and you're new to this Sangha, if you look for the name Jiva Pavana Prabhu is always posting so much nectar along with the bhajans and kirtans that we're singing so that we can all join together in sweet kirtan no matter where in the world we are or what time it is even. So thank you Jiva Pavana Prabhu for that extraordinary seva. Yesterday I saw that you said I only copy and paste, but that copy and paste helps everyone to be able to join together, so you're bringing everyone together by that. It's a beautiful seva. Thank you.
That's the seva that's been given to us by our Guru Varga.
To be the postman.
Copy and paste. Postman or parrot the message. So
yes.
we're doing the service of our Guru Varga.
Jai Ho.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadhana.
as I was playing harmonium, I looked down and I noticed that the burn I got the other day is in the shape of a chandrika. And so I was thinking about Srimati Radhika's chandrika, and maybe I got my brand of Vrindavan. Because,
Concoction.
well, there's that history of that person who used to live in Vrindavan or even at Radhakund, and he went to Dwarka.
Right.
And when he went to Dwarka, he was branded in Dwarka. They brand you with the symbols of Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, that's conch shell, disc club, and lotus flower. Anyhow, being branded there, it created a sanskar or an impression. When he came back to Braj to continue his bhajan at Radhakund, because of being claimed in Dwarka with the branding, he could no longer experience his spiritual upliftment, especially with the bhajan that he was previously doing, Braj bhajan at Radhakund. He was in essence denied.
And all the Brajvasis there turned their backs on him.
So this is a proof of exclusivity. Our Gurudev used to tell this katha, and we've read it in other places as well, that if you want one-pointed bhakti, then you must remain exclusive to your Ishtadev, to your goal. If you're just venturing out and giving your love and your faith and shraddha everywhere, then you won't have enough potency to actually reach the goal. And so it's essential that one becomes one-pointed. You know, if you have a laser and you refine it, you can burn a hole through metal. But if you just kind of don't focus it and let it just kind of spread out like that, it just makes light, but it doesn't have any real potency. So in the same way, when we focus our bhakti, when we collect all of our senses, all of our energy, Gurudev would say, give me everything, focus everything, all of your senses, your full energy during the time of Harikatha. Give me everything. And then he would fill us with nectar. So in the same way, if we want to actually attain a destination, then we must become exclusive. Anyhow, because of that little, look at, I said, little Chandrika brand right there.
Let's just say it's sweet that he's saying that making banana burfi claimed him as Srimati Radhika's.
Maybe she likes banana burfi. Anyhow, that's what came in my mind at that time. So she was like, what's going on? I was like, I got branded by Radhika's Chandrika. You know, I'm not really claiming that I got branded by Srimati Radhika's Chandrika, but one day I hope that I might be able to be branded by the dust of the dust of the dust of the dust of the feet of her maidservants.
You don't want to be known for seeing Jesus in a tortilla, so you have to be careful.
Actually, Krishna says, one who sees me everywhere and who sees everything in me, I am never lost to him and nor is he ever lost to me. So if one is a really good Christian and they see Jesus in a tortilla, they should also see him everywhere else. And this is actually good. And we should see Krishna and Radhika in everything. This is how one can be conscious of Krishna. We should just be careful not to become sahajya about it. So there was a personality who was actually stamped by Srimati Radhika's ankle bells. He became known as Shyamananda, and Srimati Radhika actually manifested that deity of Shyamasundar for him. And his tilak is different than ours. It's very similar. It has this, but then it goes down like that. It's open and has one little dot in it. It's because she gave the impression of her ankle bell on her forehead. Means in the form of a gopi. And Srimati Radhika gave that name Shyamananda. Before, his name was Krishnadas or Dukhi Krishnadas, very sad Krishnadas, but later on he became known as Shyama Ananda. Srila Gurudev explained in the Gopal mantra that term Krishnanandaya. I remember when he came out of his room in Fiji and Sudevi and I were there, maybe one or two other devotees, and he said this term Krishnanandaya. He said Krishna Anandaya and Krishna Anandaya. It means who is giving pleasure to Krishna and Srimati Radhika. So this is our Gurudev who is pleasing Radha and Krishna. And we're meditating like that. So I just wanted to share that because Shyamananda means who's giving pleasure to Shyam and Shyama. Like Shyama, Shyama, Shyam.
Sounds like Braja Janamana later.
Right. Or Anupama.
Ah.
Okay, so now we're going to call out for the mercy of the Vaishnavas, whom we are remembering now. Sakala Vaishnava Gosai.
Page 46.
You want to lead it?
I can try.
Shuniyachi sadhu muke bole sarvajan, page 51.
Starts S-U-N-I-Y-A-C-H-I. Shuniyachi.
Hari Bole Moder Gaur Elo, page 170, 170.
Krishna. Maybe not.
Gauranga Balite Have Pulaka Sharir, page 86.
And just be aware that Jiva Pavana Prabhu is posting the nectar. Don't miss out.
I hope I was right with that page 86.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I'm interested.
Raghunath Pade ki jai. So Sudevi's been wanting to do this tune for a while. It sounds like Shachi Suto Gaurahari. Okay, so we're going to do it with Suno He Rasika Jana.
We don't know how to do this tune.
We do.
No, we don't.
We've heard it before from Krishna Das.
We've heard it. What page?
Page 128.
It's called again?
Suno He Rasika Jana. Suno He Rasika Jana. Do they have it?
Yeah.
Shuno hero sika jana Krishna guru agana. Shuno hero sika jana Shuno hero sika jana Krishna guru agana. Shuno hero sika jana
Krishna ji ki samata bhamaro nashi jatu bhamaro nashi jatu bhamaro nashi
Sudevi has sung that tune. You did very well.
I didn't sing it.
They also use it for like Nitai Pada Kamala. I've heard it before. And you can use it also for Sri Guru Charana Padma. It's the same meter. But it's quite
difficult.
Like Kejabi Bhai, you know, it has that. What is it? But we're not singing that one now. We'll do it tomorrow. Ooh, getting late.
Page 341. Radhe Jai Jai Madhava Daite. 341.
Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Pavan Gauri Guruvarga ki jai, Pavan Shri Nityananda ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vina Bihari ki jai, Hari Ram Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnanatimiraandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandava Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudeva. Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaja. In the same thousands of Dandava Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer you my Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranam, dear Vaishnavas, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Is it still working for you? It seems to have paused here.
I'm checking now.
Oh, it's working. I think I'm still playing harmonium in the picture. There was some skipping.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Okay. So I'd like to start today without naming any names, but an experience I had today, which caused me to reflect. It was a highly charged experience. And so the nature of the highly charged experience,
It wasn't me.
it wasn't Sudevi, is that the conversation tends to start out with, ah, and then I thought, this is not going to end anywhere good. And I thought, okay, how do we de-escalate this? And so then I brought it to here, and really trying to bring it to a medium platform, because it was an important discussion. But then I was thinking, you know, the instructions of Upadeshamrita, these are actually meant for Grihastha Vaishnavas, those who are in this world, who are endeavoring to move forward on the path of bhakti. When one has already accepted sannyas and they've gone on, it is assumed that they've already been able to pretty much master the foundational principles for grihastas. So vacho vegam means the urge to speak. Manasa means the urge of the mind, and krodha vegam means the urges of anger. So I thought of that shlok, that verse from Srila Rupa Goswami, the very first verse of Upadeshamrita, Bacho Begam, be careful what you say. It may be difficult to retract, or it may be impossible. Like our Srila Gurudev, he tells that in the scripture, it is said, why did the Mahabharata war actually start? Now we know that Duryodhana was being unfair. We know that the Pandavas were feeling that they were being mistreated. We know that Duryodhana tried to kill them in so many ways. But something infected the heart of Duryodhana. Something infected his heart. And what was that? It wasn't so much all of the things with the Pandavas and everything that was going on. But it was the words of Draupadi. When Duryodhana came into the palace and he couldn't tell what was water and what was the floor, because it was made by the great magician. I believe that was a Maya Danava. So he fell into the water thinking it was the floor. And Draupadi could not contain herself. She was laughing and she said, the son of a blind man is also blind. Oh, that entered his heart and began to burn in his heart. His ego, his pride, everything was completely disturbed. And he became so angry, so furious, he wanted to destroy everyone. All of them. And she could not retract that. And in the same way, we hear from Shastra what happened in Ramayana. Ram, Lakshman and Sita went to the forest, being sent there by Kaikeyi. With Dasharath Maharaja's silence. He did not say anything because he had vowed to Kaikeyi that he would give her 2 boons when the time was right, or when she chose. In the forest, Ravan had sent 1 deer, a very beautiful, sweet, attractive deer. So charming and so surreal that Sita, she's also Sudevi. She's the supreme goddess. Sita Devi desired to have that deer as her pet. So, as any good husband would do, Ram decided to follow her desire to bring that deer back. In the meantime, he told Lakshman, you protect her, make sure she's not left unattended, you guard her, we don't know what's in this forest, there can be so many demons, wild beasts, or anything else, so protect her. But then, that demon, he was instructed to say something. Basically, Ravan told him to do it. And he said, if you don't do it, he said, but I'm going to be killed by Ram. He said, if you don't go and do that, then you'll be killed by me. So the demon chose, well, if he be killed by Ram, that would be auspicious. If I'm going to be killed either way. So as he was shot, because Ram realized he was a Rakshash, Maricha, the magician, at that time he called out, Sita, Lakshman, help me. But he called in Ram's voice. He used Ram's voice, in the same voice as Ram, to call for Sita and Lakshman to help. When Sita heard that, she told Lakshman, you should go immediately to help Ram. And Lakshman was completely not bewildered. He knew that nothing could defeat or affect Ram in the negative. Ram was more powerful than any of these things. So Lakshman was not disturbed in the slightest. But for this Leela purpose, Sita became very upset with him, and she said some quite harsh words. She told Lakshman that you came to the forest with us because you wanted me for yourself. You're lusting after me, you want to enjoy me, that's why you're not going to help Ram. Lakshman said, I've never even seen beyond your toenails. How can you say such harsh words? But by those harsh words, it really affected his heart, and he left her unprotected. And at that time, the king of the demons, Ravan, came. And it is, I think, one of the first historic mentions in scripture that I know of someone pretending to be a sadhu or sannyasi, but full of all sorts of material and lusty desires, chanting Om Namah Shivaya. And he came, and he begged for her to give him some fruit and water. She had been protected by Lakshman, by mantra, powerful mantra. But anyway, he told her, if you do not cross this line of protection and give it to me, then I will curse you that your husband will die. So she was stuck between a rock and a hard place. She didn't have much of a choice. The sadhu was going to curse. So when she crossed over, he was able to kidnap Maya Sita and take her with him to Lanka. And then the big battle of Ramayan, in Ramayan, that big battle ensued, by which thousands and millions of demons were finished. And also so many of the soldiers of Srila, monkey soldiers. So this Vacho Vegam, what words come out of our mouth, we must be very careful what we say and how we say it. What is our intent behind it? Because it can have detrimental effects. And also the Mana Begam, the urge of the mind, and the urge of anger. All of this comes up. You say one thing and then something else comes back and something else comes back. We know of the history of Daksha Prajapati. He was offensive to Lord Shiva. He was neglectful of him, disregarding him. Why? Because Lord Shiva was his son-in-law. So, according to Vedic society, the father-in-law is considered in a superior position. So they don't have to bow, but the son-in-law should. All of the devas, everyone understands that Lord Shiva is a great and wonderful and transcendental personality, and he's deserving of respect, but anyhow, Daksha was offensive toward him. So when his wife, Sati, decided she wanted to go to the big party that her dad was throwing, with all of these great personalities and beautiful people dressing up and doing everything, big festival. Lord Shiva said, I don't think it's a good idea. And she's like, you should come with me. He's like, no, I won't go. Last time he was offensive. I don't want to go again. So she went on her own against the better judgment of Lord Shiva. And what happened when she went? In front of everyone, her father, Daksha Prajapati, began to blaspheme Lord Shiva in horrific ways. Talking about, oh, that person who wears a garland of skulls and smears ashes on his body and always surrounded by snakes and ghosts and hobgoblins, and it was true, but still he was denigrating him, blaspheming, and everyone was just kind of laughing or mocking or staying silent, except for her. She became livid, so angry, so upset. And at that time, she said, I will cast off this body. Now there were associates of Lord Shiva who had come, and they began cursing each other back and forth. Everyone who was there, and it was getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and it was progressing in such a way that no one contained the anger that was in their heart. You know, first it's like, I hate you. And then it's like, there was one little girl in Australia. She must have been, how old was she at the time?
3 or
4 years old. And Sudevi was playing with her once, just joking and teasing her. This is what you do with little kids, right? So there was this toy alligator, frog, a toy frog. And Sudevi said, this is a real frog. And she said, this little girl, no, it's not. It's not a real frog. And Sudevi said, yes, it is. She's like, no, it's not. She's like, it's a real frog. I'm telling you, I'm an adult and I know better. It's a real frog. And she said, no, it's not. And she said, yes, it is. She said, she turned red. She started shaking like, and this little girl, 4 years old, and she just said, I'm going to chop your head off and kill you. And so Debbie was like, ah. She went to her mother, and her mother's like, are you okay? Yeah, my daughter's like that. So this kind of thing happened in this assembly. It began to amplify itself. It was like a feedback loop. You know when the microphone starts doing that thing where it gets louder and louder and louder, and then the speakers blow out and everything just like everyone's eardrums blow out. So it was getting worse and worse and worse. Sati, Lord Shiva's wife, had, by her own mystic power, given up her body by self-immolation. That's where the name Sati came from. Out of duty to her husband. There's a whole reason behind it, but the whole point I'm making is that it became worse and worse until a massive physical fight ensued, and so many persons were completely destroyed. Even Daksha Prajapati's head was removed, but he was one of the main Prajapatis, so later on he had the first head transplant that we know in history, but he was given the head of a goat to teach him humility. And so he offered so many prayers to Lord Shiva, acknowledging his mistake afterward. The point is that with the lack of control of the vacho and the mana, the mind, the words, and the krodha, everything can just go to hell. And we see it in this world today. If and believe it or not, these days you don't have to speak it. You can type it, and it can do the same thing. So this is also an extension of the vacho. We're going to call it typovegam, the urge to type. It's very easy to create offense and for it to amplify and everything to just become complete madness. And so as I was reflecting on this today, and I was actually there with the devotee, it started here. And then I was like, you know, I don't have that relationship with you that I want to be like this. I've always had a nice relationship with you. I want to bring it down to a more amicable level, that we don't need to have it on this intensity level. And then afterward, it was like, we need to bring it down another level. And I was thinking, actually, if we go down and down and down and de-escalate, we will be offering pranam to each other. And I said, you know, we have the same internal intention. Maybe there's some little things on the outside, but what is our internal intention? It's to serve and please Sri Guru. We have that in common. So all of this other stuff, sometimes it might be necessary for there to be distance. If someone is actually going against the teachings of Guru, or teaching things which are opposed to the teachings of Guru, or doing things which are actually making or bringing disrepute to Sri Guru and Guru Varga and the path of bhakti, then it might be necessary to cut. And in that case, Gurudev would say you should not even think about them or see their shadow. That's another thing. Especially if you've endeavored to make that connection and it's just not going to happen. Which does happen sometimes. It's the nature of this world, and especially during this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, Kali Yuga, it becomes that way. But among like-minded Vaishnavas, still, our Srila Prabhupada said that these things are bound to happen because we are conditioned souls. And we're not perfect yet. We're still aspiring. So from time to time, these things will happen. There will be disagreements. But the essence, the underlying mood, this should be maintained. And that is, what is our goal? What is our focus? To think that everything in this world can be just fine and dandy and pure and perfect is illusion. This world is a perverted reflection of the transcendental realm. And within the transcendental realm, there are groups. And those groups are at odds with one another. As we read previously, in this book, I believe, Chandravali's group is looking towards Srimati Radhika's group. You don't know how to love and serve Krishna. Why are you always making him so upset? Why are you making him cry? You don't know how to love him properly. And they're looking at her group. You're just giving him whatever he wants. You don't know how to please him to the highest degree. But what is their focus and what is their center? They have disagreement, but they have one focus and one center. And that one focus and one center is their intention to please Krishna. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. What is exclusively for Krishna's happiness, pleasure, and benefit. And so because of this, even though it appears that there are contradictions, still it is harmonious because it is only increasing Krishna's transcendental pleasure more and more, his happiness. When that pervertedly reflects in this material world, then instead of Krishna being the center, each one of us tries to be the center, And then we find that the escalation comes. Division comes. Anger comes. Mistrust comes. Fighting comes. Lack of control. So right from the very beginning, Rupa Goswami is warning us. Very first verse of Upadeshamrita, Bacho Vegam. Be careful what you speak. Control that urge. Try. How do you control the urge of speech? How does one control the urge of speech? If they can control that, they may be able to control their mind and anger. But if we do not control that, then everything can become ruined. There's always a positive antidote for the negative thing. The urge of speech, in this case, Vacho Vega, means the urge to speak about things which are not Krishna related or Krishna conscious. And generally the result of this is degradation. Vacho Vegam means the urge to speak. So how do you control the urge to speak? One must speak, it's part of nature. If someone is quiet and just doing mona, then mona means silence, their mind is still running. So how do you control the urge of speech and the urge of mind? By utilizing it in the service of Krishna. By speaking about Krishna. By speaking about Krishna, one will think about Krishna. It's difficult, especially if you're speaking about philosophy, tattva siddhanta, Krishna's pastimes and all of that. It's very difficult to be thinking about something else at the same time as you're speaking. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Maharaj therefore said that preaching is one of the most powerful forms of absorption. Because as you're preaching, you must be thinking about everything related to that subject matter. And so if we're preaching about Krishna, about Bhakti, about Guru, about Vaisnavas, about Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, then the thought processes must also be absorbed at that time. Not to say that one cannot, or that it's not possible for one to use preaching for their own self-aggrandizement. Today one devotee sent me a beautiful and powerful revelation from the Guru of Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, that is Bhaktivedanta Madhava Goswami Maharaj. And he's expressing it in a way that it's humility from his own heart. And we've seen it similarly spoken by our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pratyam Keshav Goswami Maharaj, by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada in the bhajan Dushtaman. He's calling, saying, what a wicked mind you have. You're just doing this nirjan bhajan in the forest away from everyone for your own pratishta. You want everyone to glorify you, so that humility comes out. Because as their bhakti is increasing, naturally they feel more and more lowly about themselves. So many bhajans of Bhaktivedanta Thakur, so bhakti. Dayata Madhav Goswami Maharaj, he was saying, oh, what are you doing with your preaching? Oh, you're trying to get people to look at you, to think that you're amazing, to think that you're wonderful, that you know so much, and you're just trying to use the name of Krishna and Krishna's pastimes and scripture to boost your own ego on a subtle level like this. And I was like, why did that devotee send it to me? This is a message for me, that I should also try to see what is lurking deep within my own heart. All of the teachings of our acharyas and their moods of humility are given to us so that we can reflect, and we can also check our own pulses with those barometers. They're different measuring tools for us to understand and to diagnose, in essence, where we are, what's going on inside. And so I saw myself earlier on that plane of intensity, and then I thought, this needs to calm down a bit. And we calmed it to there, and then we needed to calm it down more. So these tools, like this verse from Upadeshamrita, Vacho Vegam, one should control the urge to speak. That means just speaking always what we have received from Guru, what we have received from Vaisnava, what we have received from Shastra. If we speak about those subjects, then the mind can, then the vacho, the urge to speak will be considered to be controlled. And when that is controlled, always speaking about Krishna, then the mind will also follow. And then one won't be angry. One won't be angry. Usually anger comes about in a couple of different ways, but usually it's due to unmet expectations or frustrations. And there's so many good reasons for it to come. We've spoken about that not too long ago, so I'm not going to go deep into it. But today I'm talking about vacho, the urge to speak and how to control that. Especially today, in these days, we see it. How one word or one tweet can adjust the global economies. Just like that. One statement can turn family members against each other. And I've also seen that recently. One statement, one harsh word can drive people away from each other. And we're seeing it so much now. Division among political lines, division among religious lines, division among family lines, division among so many different ways. Everything is being split very clearly. And so many devotees are also taking different sides of things. Oh, if somebody doesn't believe this, then they're ousted. And if someone doesn't believe that, then they're ousted. And now there's devotees separated based on mundane things, forgetting what our center is. Our center is the lotus feet of Sri Guru, of our Guru Varga, our Guru Parampara, Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha and Krishna. All of that other stuff is mundane fluff. Kishori Mohan Uvacha. So, now, let me just check here. Make sure if anyone is sending any amazing references. Putting Krishna in the center harmonizes all relationships. Alright. So now I want to continue going beyond Vaikuntha with you. Today is what day is it? 8th of October. The last day of October is Kartik, the beginning of Kartik. So I would definitely want to finish going beyond Vaikuntha with you before Kartik begins. I don't know what's going to happen. Now there are millions of pilgrims going on Govardhan Parikrama and on Vrindavan Parikrama, and so many coming in from other locations as well. And also lots of people are staying healthy and lots of others are getting sick. For some people, that getting sick is deadly. For some people, it doesn't even faze them at all. They just get a little sniffle and then they get better. For those with the condition known as old age or the condition known as disease, it can be detrimental to their health. And we've seen it all too often. We discovered from Mamata today, I don't know if she's with us right now, but she said that she found out that she contracted COVID from another devotee. She went to their home, she went to have a glass of water, she took off her mask, sat across the table from them, and even though she works in the health industry, she was just a little relaxed at that moment, didn't realize it, and 11 days later it showed up, and that devotee contacted. That devotee had gone to the temple on Sunday and had not gone for 10 years and somehow contracted COVID at that time and then spread it to her, and she was going back and forth to the hospital and could have potentially shared it with other members of the staff. So she said that it's very, very horrific, nasty cough she has. I'm just sharing that with you in case you want to take precaution. So this is just further proof that we should be very careful. This human form of life is very valuable, very rare, and it is our chance to do bhajan. We should not be foolish or arrogant or proud. No, Bhima. Now I'm going to jump to another subject really quickly. Bhima. What did Bhima do on the battlefield of Kurukshetra? There was an astra that was shot at the army of the Pandavas. And this was the astra of Krishna, the Narayan astra. No one can defeat Narayan astra. No one. It was undefeatable. But Krishna knew, because it's his own astra, he knew how to defeat it. So Krishna told everyone that astra had made itself into millions of arrows and it was coming toward the army. And Krishna told everyone, the only way to avoid this astra is to accept its potency and bow to it. So everyone did pranam to this astra. The entire army went down and bowed to this astra, except for one person. Who was that person? Bhima. He's like, there is no way I'm bowing to a weapon coming from the other side. Hell no. And he was standing there like, come on! And all of those millions of arrows turned toward him, and they were coming straight to him. And he would have been finished in a moment if Krishna wouldn't have told everyone, tackle him to the ground. So they tackled Bhima to the ground, and he was forced to bow, to accept that this astra was very powerful. And by that, by the whole army bowing to this astra, the astra passed over, and they were okay. So I was walking down the gully, Seva Kunj gully today, and I was thinking about something quite interesting, because there's lots of monkeys there, especially when there are not so many people. In the middle of the day, people kind of go inside and there's just monkeys everywhere. And I'm carrying a stick. Why am I carrying a stick? Well, anyone who's been in Vrindavan knows what happens. It just might be that a monkey jumps on you or they start harassing you, especially the poor ladies. I don't know, monkeys know the difference between men and female, male and female, and they will attack the ladies. So I was thinking, yes, if you know that there are monkeys, they don't attack everyone, but still it might attack me, so then I carry a stick. It's a little precaution. And I stay behind what they call monkey bars. There's bars on all the windows to stop the monkeys from coming in and creating havoc. It doesn't happen to everyone all the time, but sometimes it does. So this is called a little bit of common sense precaution. Just in case we don't want a monkey to get into our room, like one did. He got into Madhu Mangal's room when Madhu Mangal was here. Got into his peanut butter and bread, and peanut butter and bread was all over the walls. And mess was everywhere. Now I know this is not Harikatha, but what I'm seeing here is that devotees are getting sick. And some are getting very, very sick. And as those who are aspiring on the path of bhakti, we should not take unnecessary risks with this body, which one is our root of bhajan. The root of bhajan means only from the human form can we endeavor for perfection. 1, 2, whose body is this? Really, it is the property of Gurudev. So I should treat it as such. I should treat this body as the property of Gurudev. That my function, the order he gave, is that even after I am no longer on this sphere, I want that you continue traveling and preaching my mission everywhere. So then I have to somehow maintain this so that I can continue to serve through this medium. Of course, everything is up to Krishna. What do you want to say? Everything is up to Krishna. Not even a blade of grass moves without his sanction. Everything happens according to Krishna's will. To the extent that one is surrendered, to that extent, they can say, yes. Shraddha, Shabde, Vishvasko, I have nothing to do. But if we're still bound in this material world, then we are still bound to do our duties in this world. And if we jump beyond our adhikar, our qualification, and pretend that we are Uttama Bhagavat, like the 6 Goswamis, then we should also do as they did. What did they do? They weren't sleeping in monkey cages and protecting themselves. They weren't worried for their own health and maintenance and all like that. They were simply weeping and searching and crying for Krishna, sleeping under a different tree every night. Jiva Goswami was living in a cave with alligators and other things. Haridas Thakur was staying in a cave with a big serpent. So the Goswamis, they have this complete conviction that Krishna is my protector, Krishna is my maintainer, I have nothing to think about, nothing to worry about, only focusing on Krishna Hari Bhajan. And theirs is real. And when we superimpose or try to pretend that I'm on that level, when we're not, because we are living inside comfortable, protected facilities with guards and whatever, doors locked and monkey bars, and we carry a stick in the daytime for protection, then this is a sign or a symptom of our current level of faith. I'm not exclusively surrendered, so then I'm choosing which one I'm going to pretend I'm exclusively surrendered about and not the other. So this pretense is also part of the nature of Kali Yuga. Previously I said it is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. Quarrel means fighting. So this was one lesson of mine today, and I was thinking about the hypocrisy also. In myself, I can also see it, yes. I sit here talking about Shraddha, but how much Shraddha do I really have? So this also is something for us to look inside of our hearts and see, am I pretending that I'm there when I'm still here? How many feet do I have planted in this world? It is said that the Uttam, he's completely planted in the transcendental realm. The Madhyam has got 1 foot here, 1 foot there, and the Kanishka's got 2 feet here. So how many feet do I have planted in this world? I'm still in the boat of this material world, still in the blazing forest fire of this material world. So at this point, if we find that we have this tendency of hypocrisy within us, and this is part of the nature of the conditioned soul, Brahm Pramada Karanapatava Vipralipsa, the tendency to cheat others, is part of the nature of the conditioned soul. It means that external covering that we live in. Yes, I'm also cheating in one way or another. I try to avoid it, but inevitably it comes. Oh, I have this pretense, I have that pretense, I have this pretense. I'm showing that I'm better this or that. And, we all have these kinds of things. I can't tell it for everyone, but we all know if we have it. This tendency. How do we get rid of those cheating tendencies? By associating with and taking shelter of those persons who are devoid of it. Who is devoid of the tendency to cheat others? Who is devoid of the tendency to come under illusion, to make mistakes, and to have imperfect senses? Transcendental personalities, the pure devotees, the Supreme Lord, Nityananda Prabhu, Mahaprabhu, Sri Guru, they are devoid of those tendencies and those imperfections. So if we take shelter of them, surrender to them, submit to them, associate with them, follow them, then we can hopefully become like them. O Gurudev, Goro More Atmasat. Take my Atma and make it like you. First, make me yours. And by that association, we can become also like them. So, okay. Now we're going to go a little bit beyond Vaikuntha. This is one of the beautiful commentaries of our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, on the beautiful manifestation of the heart of Sanatan Goswami, known as Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the history of Gop Kumar's journey from here to perfection. And before entering into this beautiful treasure, we will pray in the words of Raghunath Das Goswami to them. Vairag Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatnair Apayana Mamar Vikshamandam Kripam Budirya Paraduk Duki Sanatana Spam Prabhu Ashnayami. Begging in the dust of their lotus feet that may even a particle of their moods manifest within our hearts that are present within these pages. So, Gurudev was speaking about karma. Yesterday, he mentioned the verse from Bhagavad Gita, Yad Yad Acharati Shreshtas, Tatta Te Vetorojuna, Sayat Pramanam Kurute Lokastar Anuvartate. That's from 321. Common men imitate the actions of great men. Everyone follows the standards which great personalities establish. Now, this can be taken to mean a real great or good personality, or a famous personality. In India, they have a term called big man, bara admi, bara admi. It means someone who is famous, someone who is powerful, someone who has some great position. And people tend to follow or emulate. It's just natural. I would say most people are followers by nature. Why? Because we are eternal servants by our intrinsic nature. So the idea of being the leader or being the master, this idea is actually opposed to the nature of the soul. That's why even all of our spiritual masters, what makes them a spiritual master? They are the best of disciples. They don't see themselves that I am the spiritual master. They see I am the humble servant of my Gurudev. And I'm just like a postman delivering what my Guru has given to me. I'm delivering it to you and I'm following their order and instruction. If someone is trying to be in some position and trying to be the master, this is, in essence, opposite to what is required for one to develop deep humility to be able to chant the holy names of the Lord. Tirnadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishmana amanina amanadena kirtaniya sadahari. To be able to chant the holy names of the Lord constantly, one must be very humble to Hari Guru Vaisnava. More tolerant than a tree, feeling oneself lower than a straw in the street, ready to give all respect to them and expect no respect from others. Not demanding respect, admiration, acknowledgement, all of these things that we want, the position. Don't you know who I am? Like that. So whatever persons in big positions do, common persons, the rank and file, will tend to emulate, will follow. Everyone follows the standards which great personalities establish. Therefore, it's essential that truly great personalities should be in proper positions. Otherwise, we see the result is all kinds of havoc and chaos manifest in the world. I'm referencing the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says about why this war needs to be fought and what happened to make it such that the war needed to be fought. It was because persons in position were nonsense, and those who were being born and being raised under those persons in position were following that bad habit, those bad ideals, and they became corrupted. So Krishna says, when there's a predominant rise in adharma, then I have to come and clean up house and re-establish dharma. I have to protect the devotees and remove the demons. So coming to the next point, What is karma? When we do anything with a selfish aim and taste the fruit of our own activities, it is karma. And we become implicated in its reaction. When we do anything with a selfish aim and taste the fruit of our own activities. So there's something called action, and then there's reaction. The result of our action that is known as karma phal, or the fruit of karma. Karma means to act, to work. So whatever we do with a selfish aim, for our own selfish purpose, some result comes. So that activity is known as karma, and we become implicated in that, and therefore must receive the reaction. For instance, I am offering archan to my deity, and as a result, everyone will praise me, and I will make so much money. We see that in many temples in Vrindavan today, that they're actually really doing the archan for the purpose of making money. Okay, I'll open the door for a minute, or the curtains for a minute, or even 10 seconds, and then close them again. If you want darshan, give something. In 1996, we went with our Gurudev to Gokul Mahavan, and literally for at least 20-30 minutes, the guy there was speaking and really building up. We're just all waiting, and they wouldn't open the curtains. For a long time, we were sitting there with our Gurudev, and we're like, what's this guy doing? He's just talking and telling all of these things. And then he ended his spiel with, and I'm using the word spiel because it was like the donation drive. Okay, so everyone should give 100 rupees, 500 rupees, you know, like that. And that went on for quite a long time more. And also it was in Nandagal. Was it last year?
Yeah.
So we went to the temple, and they saw us, and we were like, okay. Usually they harass us for donations. And we were like, we're going to give something. They were like, we won't ask for anything. Don't trust us, we're not going to ask for anything.
They were saying it to hundreds of people.
Yeah, to everyone in the crowd, we won't ask for anything. So they corralled us into the inner chamber where the door was closed. So they brought us in and closed the door. And then they closed the side door, so we were locked in, about 20 or 30 of us, locked inside this small, stuffy altar room. And then came very heavy, like they had guards at the gate. Basically, you give money or else kind of thing. It was very high pressure. And we just got up and you know, I had already told everyone, just give of your heart. And they were like, yes, yes. And then it became so heavy. So what is the intention? What is the purpose? Here, I am offering archan to my deity, and as a result, everyone will praise me, and I will make so much money. Maybe I can do it in a very flashy way. Maybe when I'm doing it, there was one devotee who used to kind of dance and jiggle when he would do it. So you can do it very properly. Some I've seen work out before they do their arti, because you know the shoulder muscle needs to look really good. You know, when they're doing that. And all the ladies like that, for the pujari on the altar, not seeing Krishna. That puja will simply be karma. That which is done for Bhagavan is bhakti. If one is doing it for any selfish motive, even in the name of doing it for Krishna, it is still karma. If we don't follow Ekadashi for Krishna's pleasure, then our Gurudev said it is karma, or reward-seeking activity. Any activity that we do on the path of bhakti, if we're not doing it for Krishna's pleasure, then it cannot really be considered bhakti. That's why we have that definition of bhakti, anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavritam anukulyena krishnana shilanam bhaktir uttama. So that we know, is what I'm doing actually bhakti or not? Is it some kind of semblance or some kind of mix? And what will the result be? So Gurudev is saying that puja will simply be karma. That which is done for Bhagavan, for Krishna, that is bhakti. And that which is done for liberation, that is known as Gyan. Gyan means knowledge. But those activities which one is doing for the purpose of liberation, that means freedom from the dualities of the material world, freedom from suffering, that is known as Gyan. Bhagavan will accept puja offered with the aim of pleasing him. This is important for devotees to really, really deeply contemplate. Because it's easy to become complacent, being conditioned souls and being so used to being selfish since time immemorial, even though at times we might have this real sincere mood of service and offering. But it might be that, oh my God, I just want a cookie or I want a piece of fruit, so let me peel it, show it to them really quick, and then eat it. Well, that was my intention for me to enjoy, and I just did that kind of as a semblance, but really it was for me. So is that bhakti? No. And we shouldn't fool ourselves. That's pretense, right? It's pretense. Oh, I'm offering it to Krishna. Did I really offer it, or did I just show it in front of him and then take it and eat it? Am I really doing puja, or am I doing something for my own aggrandizement? Right? Even some are expert at dressing Thakurji, and I'm not referring to anyone in this household, but some are very expert at dressing, and then they go out to everyone. Did you see? Did you see? Oh, look how beautiful I did. Did you notice this? Did you notice this detail? Did you say, oh really? You saw them? What color were they wearing? Right? This is something for one's own pratishta. Oh, so beautiful. Yes, I did so good. They call me every time. This kind of thing. So even that activity, if it's only done for one's own selfish aggrandizement, one's own selfish enjoyment, then it cannot really be considered to be bhakti. It might be karma mishra bhakti, means doing the external activity of bhakti for the result of tasting the material fruits, known as kanaka, wealth, kamini, sense gratification, pratishta, name, fame, adoration, position, power, what is it called? Sundarim kavitam, beautiful prayers, lofty poetry offered to me. Mahaprabhu says, I don't want any of that. So Gurudev here is saying, Bhagavan will accept puja offered with the aim of pleasing him. If we are thinking, Bhagavan will be pleased by my service, and therefore he will give me a wife, a husband, a son, a daughter, or money, then that is karma. Like doing Govardhan Parikrama, Dandava Parikrama, building all of those beautiful mansions in 7 layers with Govardhan Shilas, showing, oh, Giriraj, you are the fulfiller of all desires, Sarva Vishva Pradata, you can fulfill the desires of everyone, so please, give me a 7-story mansion and fill it with a beautiful wife and beautiful children and health and wealth and everything else. Is this really bhakti? It's selfish. They're going to Bhagavan and saying, serve me. Bhakti is going to Bhagavan and saying, how can I serve you? How can I please you? What can I do? Kinkuru. Swapriya charana kinkurinkuru. Praying. What can I do? How can I serve you? What can I do to please you? But if there's any other motive, then Gurudev is saying that is karma. But from those who are offering puja solely for the pleasure of Bhagavan, even though there may be some mistake in it, it will be accepted as genuine bhakti. Even though there may be some mistake in it, what is the intention? We've mentioned it many, many times. Krishna was taking the banana peel, which was being offered by Vidura's wife, Vidurani. She didn't realize she was giving him the peel. She was weeping tears of love and affection for Krishna, trying to offer him what she had, which was bananas. And being completely confused by prema unmada, Instead of offering him the banana, she was offering him the peel. And Krishna was relishing that with so much happiness because of her mood, her intention. Where he would not eat the thousands of beautiful preparations that Duryodhana's chefs had prepared. He was not hungry for that because there was no love, no devotion, no affection for him or his devotees in it. So he would not take it. Bhishma Dev later on said, I was eating and sustaining my life in the house of Duryodhana. That's why my mind became wicked like that of a demon. Bhishma Dev said this. Because it was not actually Krishna Prasad. If Krishna wouldn't accept it, and his devotees were being offended, then it wasn't Prasad. First of all, we should understand that Bhishma is a great personality, a Mahajan, but in this pastime he's playing this role. So we should not make offense, aparad, to Bhishma Dev. He's one of our greatest personalities. Shastra says, Mahajano yena gata sapanta. We should follow the path of the Mahajans. And Bhishma is mentioned as one of the main Mahajans in scripture. One of the great personalities. So even though there may be some mistake in it, actually if there's some mistake, if it's done with love to such a point that one loses their composure and maybe makes some mistake because of it, this pleases Krishna even more. Even more. If someone loses their mind in love and affection, that's what happened with the gopis that night when Krishna called on his flute. Shriman rasarasaramhi vamshivata tatastitaha karshan venu svanar gopir gopinatha shrestanaha. On that full moon night, Sharad Purnima, the first day we begin Kartik, Krishna was sitting in Vangshivat, calling on his flute, Radhe, 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 without you I cannot maintain my life. And because all the gopis are manifestations of Srimati Radhika's moods of love and affection for Krishna, different moods, they're taking form. Every single one of them heard their own name being called. And Krishna is saying, without you I cannot maintain my life. So it was an emergency. Whatever they were in the middle of doing, they stopped at that moment and ran by the millions to go and serve Krishna in this emergency situation. Krishna, upon seeing them, became so pleased and touched. Some only had one ankle bell, some were not properly dressed, some only had kajal on one eye, their jewelry wasn't fully placed properly. Krishna, seeing this, understood their utkanta, their eagerness to serve him and please him, that they stopped everything and ran to serve him, to please him. This pleased Krishna even more, and hearing that Gad, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, Gadgadaya, Vadanam Gadgada Rudhaya Gira. Feeling these ecstatic transformations, Ashtasattvic bhavs are manifested, and my voice is choked up. The sound which is coming is Gad. It's choked. It can't even, this is even more sweet, more beautiful, more attractive to the ears of Krishna than thousands and millions of perfectly pronounced prayers that don't have any bhakti. But one ha of Rupa Goswami, immediately he's absorbed in Leela, serving Radha and Krishna within his internal swarup as a maidservant to Srimati Radhika. So even though there may be some mistake in it, if it is solely for the pleasure of Bhagavan, it will be accepted as genuine bhakti. Let me just check here. How to reconcile all that you eat, give in charity, etc. should be done as an offering unto me, because obviously, particularly in household life, food needs to be cooked for a family, and we want to serve Krishna also in wanting to give family prasadam. Okay, I'll answer that one first. We have to train ourselves to do it for Krishna first. And this is a shift in consciousness. I'm doing this for Krishna. So cook for Krishna. Cook a lot for Krishna. Krishna can eat a lot. And then, what is Mahaprasad? You serve. There's a whole progression. What goes from Krishna afterward goes to Srimati Radhika and the gopis. Right? Yashomati agyape dhanishta anito Shri Krishna prasad radha bhunje hoye prito. So, on the request of Mother Yashoda, Dhanishta brings the prasad, the remnant of Krishna, to Srimati Radhika, who enjoys it with great relish. She's taking the Mahaprasad of Krishna. And in that, there's some transcendental meeting taking place. And then it is shared with all of the gopis. And then the maidservants of Radhika. So there's a progression of how it's gone. We offer through our Guru, Gurudev, please take this. Whatever love and affection is in this, please offer this to your beloved Krishna. I don't have the qualification. But there's something in my heart. Please purify my heart. Gurudev will take that and bring it. Not in Gurudev's external form. In the transcendental Swarup. Make that qualified. We'll offer that to Krishna. And then the progression will take place. From that, Radhikari Gane Heri Nayanera Kone Tripto Hare Kai Krishna Jashoda Bhavane. I think that one comes before. Making sidelong glances. There's something happening. She's looking to see what is Krishna eating. And Krishna takes one bite, puts it back on his plate. I don't want that, send it back to the cook. That's how he does it. And it goes back to her. Of course she knows it's perfect, but Krishna makes the space, and they're like, so it goes to her, and she takes what he has taken, adharamrit, the nectar of his lips. And this completely saturates her heart. And through that, there's transcendental meeting of Radha and Krishna. From that, it comes through all of the gopis, the manjaris, then the whole parampara. And also, because Mahaprabhu is acting as guru and coming through parampara, when he's next to Radha and Krishna, he will take it there. But if we're serving Gaurnitai, they're taking the prasadam of Krishna. In parampara, they won't take before their guru. Will Mahaprabhu take before Ishwar Puri? Never. Ishwar Puri, will he take before Madhavendra Puripad? Never. Will Hanuman take before Ram? Never. Should we take before our guru takes? Never. So it must come through parampara, and then Mahaprasad is offered down the line to our Gurudev. Then we say, Om Sarva Vaishnavebhyo Namah. All Vaishnavas should take this prasadam. Then we take that Maha Prasad with our family members. First with that very powerful prayer, so that we understand what we're doing. Sharira avidyajal, jitendriya tahekal, jire thele vishaya shagore, tar madhye jiva ati, lobhamoy sudurmati, take jita kutina samsare, Krishna baradoyamoy, karibare jiva joy, swaprasad anadilo bhai, se anamrita pao radha Krishna gunagao, premilako chaitanya nitai. And we just kind of sit there and we say it like a lullaby. And we're like, Sarira Vijajao, we're going to have rice and dal. That's not the meaning of that prayer. If we read the translation, it's very serious. We have this thing called a tongue. Our Gurudev said it's the most wicked, voracious thing. It's the only sense that doesn't have a bone. It's like, no backbone on the tongue. It's responsible for vacho, speaking nonsense, and jitva, the uncontrolled necessity to want to taste everything for my own pleasure. And from that, then the mind and anger is not controlled, and the belly and genitals are not controlled. So that tongue right there is like the root of all. Right? Tar madhye jiva ati. Among all of the senses, the tongue is the most wicked, the most voracious, the most uncontrollable. Tar madhye means among all. Jivva, the tongue, ati, is certainly. Lobhamoy, supremely or completely greedy. And sudurmati, the most wicked. That's what it literally means. But Krishna, you have given us this nice Krishna Borodoyamoy. You are so merciful. Boro means greatly. Doyamoy means like the embodiment of mercy. You have given us something to help control the tongue. Karibare Jiva Joy. Svak Prashad, your own mercy. Prashad means mercy. So how we view it and what we do, this can shift the entire consciousness from selfish, self-serving, and the extension of my self-serving tendency. We should shift that, or try to develop this mood to be conscious of Krishna, or Krishna conscious. From that, then gradually, when we practice that as a sadhana, yes, Krishna, this is for Krishna. This is Radhika's kitchen. I'm assisting my Gurudeva and assisting Srimati Radhika to serve Krishna. So try to develop this state of consciousness. From that, then gradually, everything can become purified. It might not happen overnight, but instead of thinking first of myself and my extensions, my family, my husband, my children, my cat, my dog, my everything. Oh yeah, Krishna. Krishna should not be the afterthought. Everything else should be the afterthought. And Krishna should be the main thought. And, okay. So, when Krishna is saying, all that you eat, all that you offer, give away in charity, and everything, do as an offering unto me. It is true that Krishna says this, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was given this verse by Rai Ramananda Rai, he said, this is external. Uh-oh. This is also external. Why? Because the person who is looking at it like this is thinking that this is mine. So I am giving in charity, and now I'm going to offer the result to Krishna. I'm going to offer the result to Krishna. Right? So it's got this kind of selfish first, and then Krishna second kind of mood. Where in reality, Krishna says that he is the doer. And if we think I am the doer, to some degree we can look. Krishna says, what is the nature of a foolish person? Ahankara vimudhatma karataham iti manyate. Ahankar means false ego, but it also means aham kara. I am the doer. So Krishna uses very strong words. Vimudhatma means the most foolish persons, they are thinking that they are the doer. They're thinking, karta aham, I am the doer. So Krishna is establishing that actually everything, all potency, everything comes from him. So the devotee doesn't think, oh, I'm going to do this and this, and then I'm going to offer the result to Krishna. Rather, the devotee is thinking, kripaya tapapata pankajastita dhuli. Please keep me as an atom, as a particle on your lotus feet. I'm surrendering my entire self, my entire being to you, Krishna. And then automatically everything is offered. Everything that comes into connection is automatically offered. One does not have to think as an afterthought, oh, I should offer this. Because if one has already surrendered themselves with this mood, I am yours, then everything which is in relation to this, I, is also already assumed to be Krishna's.
And it goes directly into Rupacharan's question.
This goes directly into Rupacharan Prabhu's question. Little question, if we do Ekadashi and sadhan for pleasing Gurudev, following his instructions, because, in my case, I don't have that feeling that I do it for the pleasure of Krishna. I would like to have it, but the truth, I don't. This comes through association and through training. Remember we had this discussion about momentum previously. We have been in this material world since time without beginning. That's why it's called Nitya Baddha, Jivas, eternally bound in this material world. Anadi Karma Pale. since the beginning of time, anadi doesn't mean the beginning of time. Anadi means without beginning, anadi. Adi means first, and anadi means without beginning. Since forever, karma phale, we have been trying to enjoy the results of our activities, trying to gratify our senses. And we've developed so much momentum in that direction. Our samsara. So much momentum. And now we've come to the lotus feet of Sri Guru. And Sri Guru is like, now we should turn our attention exclusively to Krishna. Serve Krishna. Chant Krishna's names. Always think of Krishna. Absorb your mind in Krishna. Do everything for Krishna. Give your life, your soul, your body, your mind, your words, everything to Krishna. So it's like putting the brakes full on and then instantly reversing and going the complete opposite direction. We're so accustomed to going one way for so long, and then suddenly we're trying to go the other way. And we feel the pressure. We feel it. It's almost like it's dragging us back to what we are accustomed to. We have developed so much, I'm going to use the word dukriti. It's the opposite of sukriti. Spiritual merit is sukriti. But also there's dukriti, material, mundane merits, and also material, mundane impressions, samskars. They're like permanent impressions within us practically, which almost forcibly drag us toward Maya. Because of this tendency, it is required that we are under the guidance of Krishna or his ambassador, our Sri Gurudevs, our Guru Varga, the pure Vaishnavas, at every moment. Otherwise, any little thing can easily pull us back in that direction. So we must hold on tightly. When I was 8 years old, I thought I could swim across a raging river. This was in Bhaktivedanta village in near Visalia in California. And the river was rushing pretty fast. And I was a little proud of my ability to swim, which wasn't as good as I thought it was. And I went swimming on my own. All the Gurukul boys were playing there, jumping off the rocks and this and that. And I went swimming and the river started taking me down. And somehow I got to the other side and I was able to catch on to some reeds. And I was just holding on for dear life as I was swallowing water and I was beginning to drown. Somebody, not a devotee, some other person on the river, big beer belly, like that, he saw me and he went swimming across. And I was like going under and, coming out. He came and he got me. So this material world is like that raging river which is pulling you. And Guru is coming after us to save us, seeing that we're drowning in this world. They know how to swim. They know how to go. And he had to bring me back upstream to where the rest of my party was. Guru can do that for us. Guru can pull us out of this dangerous situation. But if we try on our own without taking shelter, it's a very dangerous proposition. Very easily we can be swept away by Maya. I read today, someone posted from Srila Govinda Maharaj. Yes. And he was saying, I won't be able to find it at this moment. He was saying that how do you get this mood? When Guru gives you some chastisement, some strict, severe discipline, then you begin to shape up. You begin to wake up. You begin to understand, yes, I need this. Otherwise, what is my nature, my tendency? We can all look at our own hearts and feel our own pulse and see, oh, on my own, how strong am I really? I can externally show 1 or 2 hours of good and then saturated in mundane energy for the rest of the time. So we must be under guidance. And if we can't be under the physical guidance of Guru, then we should take association of those who will encourage us to be under the physical guidance of sadhu, Vaishnavas, and also take shelter of Shastriya Sadhu Sangha. Something is better than nothing. as long as it is encouraging us in that direction, toward Krishna. So yes, we may not be at this time actually doing it for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. So how do we reconcile this? Because we have our current reality, we have our pretense, and then we have the reality. So how do we reconcile it? I will reconcile it with the 7th verse of Upadeshamrita. Syat Krishna Nama Charitari Sitapya Vidya Ito Pataptara Sanasya Narochikanu Kintvadarad Anudinam Kalushaiva Jushta Sadvi Kramad Bhavati Tad Gatamulahantri. Srila Rupa Goswami is telling that in the beginning, as one is trying to take shelter of Harinam, and that includes all of the other processes of bhakti as well, it may be that it's not really for Krishna's pleasure initially. But as we continue doing it, even in the beginning it might be bitter. Why would it be bitter? Because we are jaundiced by ignorance. Jaundice is a really terrible disease which I had contracted twice in India, where my whole body turned yellow and my liver was fried. So this disease is such that when you take sugar candy, the sugar candy tastes bitter. You don't like it. It's like, well, why are you giving me that? In fact, Sudevi threw out lots of sweets because I told her they were all bad, they were all bitter. And later on they discovered that I had jaundice. So Rupa Goswami is saying that by gradually being under guidance and taking shelter of this process, by taking that sugar candy continuously, which is the remedy for this jaundice, that gradually the jaundice will disappear and we will be able to taste the sweetness of that sugar candy. So just because we might not be doing it perfectly now, we should understand that it doesn't just happen in a moment. It can, but it doesn't usually. It doesn't mean we should give up the process that Guru has given us. We should try to make or increase in our endeavor on a regular daily basis. Gradually, 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 we will begin to become more attracted to what Guru is giving, the moods in the heart of Guru, the moods in the heart of the Vaishnavas, and by that association, we will take what they've given us and begin to develop more and more bhakti. When we come to Sri Guru and receive initiation, it is like a new birth. When one is newly born, and maybe most of us feel like we're just babies. I'm just a baby, I don't even know what I'm doing, we're vomiting in stool and we can't control anything at all. But gradually, over time, by being in the association of our parents, our seniors, and learning from them, we will develop a nature which is like theirs. So this is our hope, this is our aspiration. That Gurudev, please keep me close to your lotus feet, give me the shelter of your lotus feet, make my Atma like yours. I will hold on, and you can please make me qualified to serve you, to serve the Vaishnavas, to serve Mahaprabhu, and to serve Shri Radha and Krishna. So, I did not... Oh my God, it's so late. Please forgive me.
Actually, I wanted to say something if it's okay.
Yes, please.
I just wanted to add that Srila Gurudev is the one who is Krishna's representative, his mercy in this world. And if we can actually have some mood of gratitude towards Sri Guru when we are endeavoring in our sadhana, oh, you've given me the treasure of your heart, and I don't even know what it is, I don't even appreciate it, but I know you've given me such a thing. Oh Gurudev, I'm doing this to please you. Not necessarily to please Krishna, but to please Guru Krishna. This is the beginning of everything, even Anyabhilasita Shunyam, even when we're singing bhajans that are to Krishna. In the beginning, really, our touch with the divine is Sri Guru. So it's for Guru Krishna. And we have relationship there. So it's easy for us to actually do it with a mood. I know his kindness, I know his beauty, I know his beautiful smile, I know his voice. We have so much relationship that is realized. So we can turn love and affection to that realized relationship, and that can be purified by those offerings and by that endeavor, that pleasure will ultimately please Krishna. Yasyat prasadat bhagavat prasada. When you are pleasing Sri Gurudev, automatically Krishna becomes pleased. And if we're not pleasing Sri Guru, then Krishna will never be pleased. So always we start with this mood of going first to Gurudev. Gurudev said, if you cannot weep for Gurudev, then you can never weep for Radha and Krishna. It is impossible. So the root of everything is right, our foundation, Guru Nishta. And from there we begin to run on the path of bhakti and then to Rag Bhakti, Rag Marg.
Can you just share in this connection when Gurudev asked you in Fiji to share with that girl, the new person who was there, what he spoke the night before?
So Gurudev wanted me to repeat something he spoke the night before, and it was something on Bhagavad Gita, and he said, so you should repeat. And it was in front of Gurudev and some senior Vaisnava, so I was afraid. I was like, no, Gurudev, I can't. He said, oh, something you can do. And I said, Gurudev, no, I can't. And then I thought of something smart to say, so I said, and anyway, Gurudev, everyone has come to hear you speak. And Gurudev raised his eyebrows and said, yes, but sometimes the father likes to hear the baby say goo goo gaga. And that is the nature of our relationship. We're coming from not knowing anything. I think I'm this body, this mind, these emotions, this mentality that I have. I think I'm from this country. I'm fighting for this president. I'm fighting for all these crazy mundane things. So when we come in contact with Guru, we are babies. All of us. Even Gurudev considered that he was a baby in front of his Gurudev. And he would laugh and say, my Gurudev said if we don't have enough money when he's gone, that we can take the temple apart brick by brick and sell the bricks. And Gurudev was laughing. This is the nature of a salyata, of a guru for its disciple, for his disciple. And we have this mood, you are my everything to Sri Guru. But it begins from that. And that is the most important thing to understand, that our connection with Krishna is first and foremost with Sri Gurudev, and establishing that relationship deeply in our hearts. Automatically, without extra endeavor, we will begin to have affection for Radha and Krishna. Automatically. It won't be a thought out process. It will be automatic, spontaneous from the heart. This is the words of our Gurudev, our Guru Varg.
Yes. Srila Gurudev said, it will come. First, that feeling for Guru will come, and then from there, very easily, for Radha and Krishna. So thank you, Sudevi, for sharing that beautiful and powerful and essential message. So we will end here. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll do a kirtan and then darshan of Thakurji. Make sure you have this darshan before they change. They're going to change tomorrow. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagwan Guru Varga ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Jai 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 Shri Radhe, Radhe Radhe Radhe. Jai 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 Shri Radhe, Radhe Radhe Radhe. Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Shri Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe.
Shyam.
Gaura Premanande.
Hari Hari Bo.
So thank you all very much for being with us today, giving us the opportunity to remember and reflect upon the beautiful teachings of our Gurudeva and our Guru Varga, and for engaging us in our Guru Seva, for which we are extremely indebted. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Radhe Radhe.
Thank you so much for your questions.
Mamata, hope you feel better. And yes, we know you didn't give anything to your colleagues. You're all very careful there. He was just trying to make a point, I think. But feel better. We're sending our prayers. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Dandavat
Radha Vinodhi
Pranam.
Hari Ju ki
Jai.
jai. Sachinandana Gaura Hari
Ki Jai.